On April 23, 2006, in Kyiv, Ukraine, a man stood on the street staring at the buildings around him. He was dressed in an outdated outfit, one not typically seen in modern times, and he held an old camera. The locals were baffled. Who was this man? He approached a police officer to ask for an address that didn't exist in Ukraine. When the officer asked for his ID, what followed would spark a bizarre story that seemed too strange to believe. This story revolves around a man named Sergei Ponomarenko. When Sergei showed his ID to the officer, they were shocked to see that it listed an address from the Soviet Union. Now, the Soviet Union was once the largest country in the world, spanning multiple territories, but it dissolved in 1991, splitting into 15 independent nations, including Russia, Ukraine, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. So why was this man holding an ID from a country that no longer existed in 2006? Even more puzzling, his ID claimed he was born in 1932, which would make him 74 years old. Yet, he looked remarkably youthful. When the police asked him what the current date was, Sergei replied, April 23, 1958. But this was 2006, not 1958, leaving the police utterly confused. They had a lot of questions for him, so they took him to the police station. As the interrogation continued, Sergei kept insisting he was born in 1932, that he was 26 years old, and that it was 1958. He also shared his love for photography and showed the psychologist his camera. When asked how he ended up in Kyiv, Sergei explained that he was walking around in the daytime when he saw a strange object in the sky. He said he took a picture of it with his camera, and when he looked up again, he found himself standing in Kyiv. The psychologist was stunned by this story. The camera he used was a Yashica Flex, a model that had stopped being produced after 1970. The police also called in a professional photographer, Vadim Pozin, to inspect the film in the camera. Pozin developed the photos and found images that seemed to match Sergei's account, including pictures from the Soviet Union and a photo of a woman. But the story didn't end there. Sergei, who was under police custody, mysteriously disappeared from the station. No one knew where he went. The police checked the CCTV cameras, but there was no sign of Sergei. He had vanished completely. Despite this, the police didn't give up and started searching for the woman in Sergei's photos. Eventually, they found a clue. They discovered that in 1958, a man named Sergei Ponomarenko had gone missing in Ukraine. This was the same person as Sergei Ponomarenko. From there, they tracked down Sergei's fiancée, who was now over 70 years old. Her name was Valentina. When they approached her, she showed them an album of photographs that included pictures of Sergei. But her story was even more shocking. Valentina revealed that Sergei had disappeared for 2 years back in 1958. When he returned, he was troubled and didn't explain where he had been. What's even more baffling is that she showed the police a photo Sergei had given her, claiming it was from the year 2050. The picture depicted Ukraine, but with tall buildings in the background, buildings that didn't exist in 1958. She also mentioned that Sergei disappeared again in 1970 and had never returned. This entire incident is quite intriguing. Did this man really travel through time? Is time travel even possible? The story has become quite famous, but I personally think it's all a hoax. It's just a fake story. Think about it. If this had truly happened, the scientific community would have been all over it, researching how it was possible. The police don't have a single photo of the man except for his ID and those photos allegedly found on his camera. This incident took place in 2006, so at the very least, the police should have some security camera footage, but they don't. Furthermore, the picture that's said to be from 2050 shows one building duplicated in 3 different spots. Upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that this photo was edited. In the end, I believe this famous incident is nothing but a lie. The Sergei Ponomarenko case is a hoax, a made-up story. Despite its popularity, there are too many inconsistencies and holes for me to take it seriously. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments.